Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing a video giving my thoughts for The Walking Dead Season 7 on who I will think will be Ezekiel's love interest. Spoiler warning as usual if you're not caught up on The Walking Dead. So I wanted to add this video on after yesterday's video giving my thoughts on Harold Perrineau, apparently most likely being Ezekiel in The Walking Dead TV series. It's unfortunate that we won't see Dave Fennoy because I think he'd be pretty much perfect, but you know, Harold Perrineau should be really good as well too. Either one should be just fine. So with regards to the character, since it is confirmed, of course, that we're going to see him in season 7, this is a big. Now this does have some spoilers for the comic book series version of Ezekiel, so heads up for that. But he is, in the comics, a lot of his character and a lot of what we know of his character and his story arc and his storyline in the Walking Dead comic book series is based on his relationship. Now, there's a problem with the TV series, which is why I wanted to make this video. In the comic book series, he kind of falls in love with Michonne, who then kind of rejects him, kind of like falls in love with him too. They seem to have a very good relationship, but then she pushes off. She doesn't dump him, but she just wants space. She kind of leaves, right, type of deal. So leaving him in kind of an interesting place. So a lot of Ezekiel's character, a lot of his story arc, aside from being the leader of the kingdom and being kind of funny and charismatic and kind of just a fun character to be around in an interesting community that's quite a bit different from the one we're used to with Rick and the survivors. Personally, in terms of his personal life, we don't get to see too much from him in the Walking Dead comic book series, aside from his relationship, aside from his love interest with Michonne. So, in the television series version, of course, this is going to be a problem that the writers are definitely going to have to tackle and figure out what they're going to do because, of course, Michonne in the TV series is with Rick. So it does create a conflict. Now, if you're looking at the rest of the characters from our kind of A-list, our surviving crew, so to speak, right now it's pretty hard to say. The only other one I see that maybe makes sense in terms of age range and that kind of thing would be Sasha, I think. Granted, she's a little bit younger, than Michonne comics, her, and yeah. So I guess it's fine because of course originally Sonequa Martin Green did actually she auditioned for Michonne and she didn't get it. Denai Greer, of course, got it, which I think was a good choice because I think that but them using her anyway is cool too. So I think that would be pretty much perfect for them if they were to use Sasha as that. Granted, she, of course, is in a relationship with Abraham, and it seems like it might be getting pretty serious. Talks of having a baby, that kind of thing. We'll see if Abraham survives the Season 6 finale, if he still wants to do that with Sasha afterwards. I mean, he might want to, so we'll see. But maybe just seeing what happened with Glenn and kind of since the idea from that kind of came from Glenn, for him, you might think that after, if Glenn is, if his brains are bashed in, it might affect Abraham's kind of future plans to follow in his footsteps, so to speak. So that definitely could be interesting to see what will happen with that, whether or not Abraham, will be in a long-term relationship with Sasha and how that's going to work. If it isn't Sasha, if she's with Abraham and he survives long-term, then I don't really know who else it could be from our main cast. I mean, I'm looking around, I'm like thinking, could they use Melissa McBride? Could they use Carol as an option for? But she's in a kind of I almost want to say she's almost in like a love-hate relationship with Morgan, or it seems to be set up right now that the two of them, because Morgan's kind of going to save her, that kind of thing. It seems to me like there might be something going on there already, and I could definitely see her and Morgan being kind of them two getting together. I think would be better than if they did Carol and Ezekiel. Also because Ezekiel is so bright and he's so full of fun and joy and everything like that, and Carol is not. That's what she can be, but it's kind of like it's a face, right? It's her Bruce Wayne, so to speak, to her Batman. So it's Yeah, I don't like Carol and Ezekiel. Their personalities are they're too clashy. Even though her and Morgan, theirs have been too, but now Morgan's kind of shifted more like her, right? So I think that's where there is. Aside from that, who else we got? We got Francine, who's, I mean, she's like a D character at this point. I would say, if I had to rate, I would even say C character. I mean, she's there. You know, that's possible from Alexandria, but again, she's not a fighter. She doesn't really leave that much, so that's difficult. Rosita, I would just say no. I don't think that makes sense. Rosita and Ezekiel. I guess possible, but yeah. So for me, this one is really, really tricky. It's tough to say for sure because it's so early on, and we haven't even met Ezekiel yet. Plus, they may not even factor in some kind of relationship for him. They could just kind of go different with the story, do something different with his character, or maybe in season 8 we'll see him and maybe a new character kind of forming a relationship. So we'll see what they do with it. I like Sasha for it best. I think Rosita's a little bit young. I don't know. It's I guess it could work if they went with Rosita. Yeah. Aside from that, I can't really think of like anybody else. I mean, there's not that many females in our kind of A-list category for Walking Dead survivors anyway. So there it is. So for now, it might even look more like maybe they won't even kind of use that storyline, or they'll do something. They'll remix it to the point where it's so different that it's not really similar as it was in the comics. It's quite a bit different. So we'll see. So that's the best I can do right now for you guys. You guys can write your comments below. Who would you like to see Ezekiel with as a love interest in the TV series version? Who do you think is most likely? Do you think Sasha as well, or do you think Rosita would be good, or who do you think, or Francie, somebody else like that? I don't know. But they'd have to kind of step those characters up a bit then and give them a little bit more time and stuff, which they did do with Denise in season 6 anyway, so it wouldn't be out of question. So there's my thoughts on that one. Next question is from Ryan Rabbit. He says, "Hey Trev, Q&A. Who is your favorite Walking Dead character of yours truly? Not the internet's, not your girlfriends, not your moms. I don't have a brother. Not your brother, not your friends, not your pets. Your favorite." So, Jess's favorite is Carol. I'll tell you right now. She loves Carol, which is awesome. My favorite, it depends if you're talking TV series or comic book series version. If I have to say overall, I'll probably go the boring route, which is that Rick Grimes is probably my overall favorite because he's, from the overall series, he's probably my number one favorite if you look at everything together. But throughout the series, I've had lots of different favorites, especially TV series. At the beginning, Shane, John Bernthal Shane, I thought was awesome. My favorite. Daryl, sometimes is like my favorite, like at the end of season 5, season 6 type range, he's like, my favorite. But it changes back and forth. And then, of course, we got Negan coming in. When I read Negan in the comics, it's sometimes I feel like, yeah, he's my favorite character. But then it's like, okay, but he's not in like the majority of the first part, like the first 100 issues. He's not there, so it's hard to say. But yeah, I'll go with the boring route. It's pretty much Rick for me overall. Everything combined, you could just say it's Rick. So, but you guys can write your favorite below too. I know that in the TV series and polls I've seen, Daryl outranks Rick in terms of favorites. So that's something right there too. That's kind of cool. Norman Reedus' Daryl is usually the favorite character of the series, fan favorite, over Rick, which is something I bet you they never expected to see because the character didn't even exist in the comics. Next one's from Radical Z, or Z if you're American. He says, "Hey man, I have a TWD question for your Q&A. My question is, think that after Glenn or whoever gets killed by Negan, Daryl will be taken by Negan as a second punishment and forced to work at the sanctuary. I always enjoy your videos and your insight." So he thinks that Negan is going to take Daryl with him. Well, I do think that Daryl would fit in like perfect with the Saviors. And I personally still think, and I said it in my death predictions video, I think Dwight and Daryl cannot coincide. I think that one of them is going to get the crossbow, one of them is going to survive, the other one isn't. I could be wrong on that. Totally wrong. I just think that that's kind of the way I kind of see it going. So again, I could be completely wrong, but I think you're right. I think because I've seen some stuff, rumors and that kind of stuff, comments and that may happen. So we'll see. But nothing 100% confirmed, anything like that yet. But it looks like maybe that will happen, or there'll be like a second death in there in addition to maybe it being Glenn, which also isn't confirmed 100%. Next one's from Torridd, and he says, if Rick could pick or bring back anyone from the dead except Laurie, who would he pick? Who do you think he would pick? So that's an interesting question. Except for Laurie, like, why would you assume that Laurie would be the one he'd bring back at this point? Especially after he's with Michonne and stuff. Do you really think? I don't know. That's tricky. Would he bring back Laurie if he had the choice? I don't know, man. That is tricky. I think he might go with, okay, maybe he would. But since he's with Michonne and that now and everything, and I think that was probably a difficult death for him. Maybe somebody like Herschel would be fun to see. I think he had a great relationship with Herschel, and that was a super sad death for sure. So maybe somebody like Herschel would be cool at this point in his current state. Aside from that, it's like who else could he bring back? He probably wouldn't want to bring back Shane because Shane would be fighting with him and stuff and everything as usual. So yeah, I mean, there's so many character deaths. It's hard to even consider. Or maybe Andrea or somebody like that, because she would be a good fighter to have too. Whereas Herschel, with the one leg and stuff, he's good for guidance and stuff like that. But those characters, just like Deanna, Herschel, they often don't survive that long. We'll do like one or two more. Next one's from Carlman23. He says, hey Trev, have a question for your Q&A. How will The Walking Dead show this summer's trailer without spoiling who Negan killed? This is just another reason why they should have just shown us who was killed in the season finale. He was still bitching about it. Carlman23. So, they're going to do it just like they did the last two seasons, I would bet. I'd put money on it. I'll bet you $50. I don't really bet anyway, but I would put money on it that I would bet that they're going to have at least one or two scenes in the trailer with the character that's killed in a different context to make it look like they're still alive, so that nobody knows, so that nobody has an idea. So they're going to be sneaky about it, I bet you. This is the way I see it. They're going to be sneaky, so it's what it is. Unless they figure people are so pissed off, maybe they'll show us in the trailer. That would be mind-blowing if they did. But I bet they'll probably be sneaky about it and just put the trailer out with some stuff in it that doesn't actually occur in the series. Just like Gareth saying they're going to go to Washington together and cure this thing, which never happens. Last one will be from IRE Jackal. Is that Ireland Jackal? I'm not sure. IRE. That's what I see that online sometimes, especially when Conor McGregor stuff with UFC and stuff. He says, do you think that it's possible that a main character like Rick or Daryl could ever die randomly by a walker or in a battle? This would be more realistic, but I can't see them doing it. Well, yeah, and so that's a topic that we've talked about quite a few times over the years, which is kind of the unpredictableness of a death, like T-Dog's, which kind of comes out of nowhere, versus kind of a build, and also Tyrese's too as well. Versus and also kind of Noah's. No, I'm not. They're all black. I'm not. Okay, so you have the unpredictableness versus kind of the development of a great story and kind of the setup and everything, and then a huge death like the Herschel moment, for example, with the governor cutting him up. So a big character like Rick or Daryl, I think if it's going to be one of the two of them, it would have to be a huge type of moment. It could not just be some random, just some walker walks up and just bites Rick on the arm and he dies or something. I would be like, what? I don't see that happening. Unless he gets beaten down to the point where it's some kind of huge buildup or something, and it's a special zombie or something. I don't know, like a family member or something. I don't know. But generally, no, I don't think so. Because even though it's unpredictable, if you want that, you should watch Game of Thrones. If you want kind of a story that's kind of a more great story from a protagonist perspective and kind of building up and building something great and then eventually being killed, that kind of thing, that's Walking Dead. But if you're looking for kind of that total unpredictableness, then you're looking for something more like Game of Thrones. So check that out if that's what you want to see, because that show does pretty well. Or Season 3 of The Walking Dead is a lot like that, I would say, with Andrea and with T-Dog and some of the others too, Axel and that. It's kind of like they just kind of die as part of the story that's happening, versus now where a lot of the times they set it up better and that kind of thing. So yeah, so that'll be it for today's Q&A, guys. Losing my voice now, so better wrap it up. If you guys like the video, you can go ahead and thumb it up below. You can also share and favorite. And if you're new and you want to subscribe, you can subscribe at the bottom left. That's it for this video today. I'll see you guys again real soon, probably tomorrow for another. As always, it's Trev, and I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See ya. You better subscribe.